Hi Aries, welcome back to the Astrology 33 channel. This is your November 2020 love reading. Thank you to those of you who liked, viewed, shared, subscribed, and donated to the channel. I appreciate all of that. As far as personal readings go, I decided to take a break from those till early next year sometime. So I wanted to give you an update there. As far as what we have in front of us, it's what I call the bridge and the gap spread. And the way it works is the cards on the left side represent your energy toward the connection with your main love interest. Cards on the right side represent their energy toward the connection. It's the past energies, present energies, future energies. Once we get through all those, we actually pull some oracle cards with some additional insight. That's where the bridging the gap dynamic comes into play. As far as the decks being used, on the left side we have the Lover's Path Tarot, on the right side we have the Tarot Sexual Magic. And also I'm going to be referring to the cards on the left as your energy, but if you feel more like the cards on the right represent your energy and the left is the other person's, then trust that. Alright? So with all that out of the way, past energy on your side, we have Temptation. So this is actually the equivalent of the Devil card in traditional tarot, which is Capricorn energy. So, I mean, if we just look at this on the surface, it could just be saying that someone else might have come along to pull you away from the connection with this person. Or for some of you, it could even say that, if they were otherwise involved, you might have actually tempted them to move away from their connection toward you. So really could play out either way. And, for those of you who were never really officially together, and it doesn't even involve that they were involved with someone else too, could just be saying that you guys might have drifted apart in some way. Maybe because you had other focuses, for example, with all the stuff going on in your 10th house, maybe you're just heavily focused on career. But yeah, I definitely feel like one of those first two scenarios could be your case, though. All right. Past energy on their side, we have the Seven of Pentacles. So this is Taurus energy here. And usually, excuse me, in traditional tarot, that's that energy of like looking at how far you've come and deciding if you still want to invest energy into it. So that's why I see it could have been happening here. So, like I said, for those of you where maybe it was just the two of you ended up drifting apart, maybe they were having their doubts about how much further the connection could go as well. Or like I said, for those of you who maybe you drew them away from a connection they were in, this might have been the energy they were in with their current connection and why you might have been able to draw them away from that. So that's what I see there. In the present position, we have the Ace of Arrows. So this usually represents sudden insights around a situation. Maybe you see things from a different angle that you hadn't thought of before. For example, we do have Mercury retrograde currently, so that could have you reevaluating things. It's going to eventually end up in Libra too. It's currently in Scorpio, but it will end up in Libra for a bit, which for you guys is your opposite sign, so you could just be reevaluating connections. So that's definitely a possibility that, maybe you're seeing the connection with this person from a different angle. All right. And present energy on their side, we have Justice, which is the major arcana card for Libra, speaking of your opposite sign. Knave of Chalices, which is the equivalent of the Page of Cups, and Three of Wands, which is Aries energy. So seeing this card in particular makes me think of the fact that Mars will be going direct again in your sign around the middle of November, and it would actually be in these degrees of Aries. This represents the middle 10 degrees of Aries, so there's some significance there. But with the Justice card here too, to me it could just be saying that they might have interest in reconnecting with you, and but there could be some reluctance on their part to reach out, because with that Knave of Chalices energy there, it looks like this guy is trying to write a letter, right? We see all the stuff on the table there, and he's like crumbling up that paper. There's more crumpled up pieces of paper all over the floor. So it could be that they're trying to reach out to you. They might even do so around well, at the time of recording this, we haven't had that Taurus full moon yet. So for those of you who watch this before November officially starts, could be around the time of that Taurus full moon at the very end of October. So, they might reach out to you around that time, especially because it's conjunct Uranus, so you might get some sudden communication there. And yeah, with the Three of Wands, well, this could play out either way too, because with the Three of Wands in the mix, it could just be saying that they really want to communicate, they want to reach out. They might have even, thought of what to say, but they felt like they couldn't find the right words, so eventually they might resign themselves to just waiting for you to come around to them. But it looks like at the very minimum there's a desire on their part to communicate. All right. Future energy on your side, we have the Ten of Staves. So this is the equivalent of the Ten of Wands, which is Sagittarius energy. And with this deck in particular, it points to, successfully completing something, but it comes with a lot of responsibility. So I feel like that's what this could be saying here, that you guys will get the connection back on track between the two of you, but it's probably going to take some work to get there. Starting with communication, it looks like that would be the first thing. But yeah, it looks like it's just saying, maybe with the Mars retrograde you had going on in your sign and all the tense aspects it was making there, and through the Libra season, maybe just didn't really have the energy to put forward toward the connection. But it looks like things will be getting back on track for you guys. Like I said, especially maybe because of the fact that that Mercury retrograde will eventually end up in Libra for a bit, which is your opposite sign. So that could help get things back on course in that regard. And future energy on their side, we have the moon. So again, I'm getting a vibe here of just saying that, they could be a little bit confused as to what their next step should be around the connection. But also I see the significance of what I was saying there, where like I said, maybe you'd hear from them during that full moon in Taurus. Or for some of you, it might be as late as the full moon toward the end of November, which will be in Gemini, which is your third house of communication. But I do see them, like I said, it looks like at the minimum they have the desire to reach out. So eventually I think they probably will. Definitely watch out for those full moons as far as the timeline for when. And like I said, it looks like it'll take some work, but you guys can definitely get things back on track. And bottom of the deck on your side, we have the Two of Cups. And it's interesting to me the way the Two of Cups is in this deck. Like we see that lightning bolt in the background, and clearly it looks like it was raining, right? And one of the cups is knocked over. So to me, we think of traditional, most decks with the Two of Cups, it always looks like that bright, sunny atmosphere and everything looks perfect, right? So this could just be saying that, could be representing what I was seeing here, where, like I said, it looks like you guys might have had a rough stretch for a bit. So it might have been difficult for you guys to get the connection off the ground. And that would align with that Ten of Staves message we saw there too. Where it's like you could have the success, but it'll take some work to get there. So, like I said, could be because one of you were otherwise involved, or maybe you guys just naturally drifted away because you had other concerns going on in your lives, or whatever the case may be. But it looks like there's definitely a desire to reconnect now. And then, interestingly enough, beneath that we have the Four of Staves, which is also Aries energy too. So definitely looks like there's promise in the connection. All right, and then bottom of the deck on their side, though, we have the Five of Wands, which is Leo energy. So for some of you, this can be just what I was saying there, that in the past, one of you might have been otherwise involved, and that could have been what the obstacle was in the connection. But for others of you, you could just be saying that they might feel like, or maybe even they're hearing rumors that you're already in another connection. For those of you who, like I said, it just seemed like the connection just died out naturally and you kind of drifted off to another connection. Could just be saying that they could have concern that you're still in that connection. It might see that you have, they might have to compete for your attention as well, because that's another way the Five of Wands energy could come across. But interestingly enough, too, beneath that here on their deck, we have the Two of Chalices. So you guys technically both had the Two of Cups in the bottom of the deck. Yours was just right up front. Theirs was the second one in. But definitely looks like there's love there. Like I said, it looks like there was definitely a drifting apart at some point in the past. Maybe even not even communicating between the two of you in the present, but a desire to do so. And in the future position, it looks like you guys probably will finally, get back on track. So hopefully that resonated with you so far. But we'll see what we get from the Oracle decks. First, we'll see if we get anything from the Aqua Moonlight deck here. I did pre-shuffle this deck, but I'm actually just going to be looking for some jumpers here. So first, we'll be looking for unspoken messages from you to them, and then from them to you. And if I shuffle for a while and nothing comes up, I'll just take that as a sign to move on to the next deck, since it's just a general reading. But sometimes we'll get occasionally we'll get extra messages here, so we'll see if we get anything. So like I said, first looking for messages from you to them. Almost had one there. Okay, nothing coming up yet, but I'll give it a few more shuffles before we move on. Okay, yes, nothing. So next we'll look for unspoken messages from them to you. Okay, nothing coming up here either, but I'll give it a few more shuffles. Alright, so yeah, nothing there. Which, like I said, I did kind of pick up on that. In the present, it looks like the two of you might not be speaking for whatever reason. But what we'll do now is we'll pull a card from the Wisdom of the Oracle deck here. Same situation as far as I did pre-shuffle this deck, but we're just looking for one card here to wrap up with general advice. Okay, nothing coming up there. I'll give it a few more shuffles. Worst case, I'll put the deck down and we'll pull a card. Alright, yeah, let me just put the deck down. And give me a second to tune in. We'll just pull a card. Alright, we'll go here. Okay, we have higher power. There's the artwork, and the number is 4. So we'll see what it says. Okay, it says conscious contact with a higher power, the presence of the divine, seeing source energy in all things, committing to a partnership with spirit. The Oracle's message. This card reminds you that you are more than a person trying to get ahead and make things happen for yourself and others. You have an immortal soul and are gifted with a human life through which a higher power can express itself. At this time, you need to be conscious of your connection to spirit and foster it through prayer and meditation. Ask, what is the highest good for all? How can I serve? Then get out of your own way and trust that there is a plan for your life more wondrous than you can ever know. You are always protected and divinely directed. Alright, so pretty positive message there, and I wonder if that's even what the Ace of Arrows energy is pointing to, where, like I said, you guys might get some kind of a sudden insight around the situation, maybe looking at the connection from a different perspective. The relationship message says it's time to address how much effort you give to your relationship with your higher power called God, Goddess, Spirit, or any other name that is sacred and holy. Recognize that your partnership with Spirit is your number one priority. The appearance of this card also indicates that there is a deep spiritual bond between you and another person who is essential to your growth and evolution. Tend to your spiritual connections and remain aware of your true nature. So, interesting message there, and that could be what's bringing you guys back together. Like I said, it definitely looks like there was some kind of a separation of some kind between the two of you in the past, and it looks like the desire to reconnect is there. So it could just be saying in that regard it's a bit of a faded thing. So hopefully that resonated with you guys. We'll wrap up there, and I'll see you all next month. All right, bye.